Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, host of a Totally Turtle Sports and Gaming YouTube channel, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network.
In brightest day,
in blackest nights,
no evil shall escape my sight,
but those who worship evil's might.
Beware my power.
GreenLantern's light. Hello and welcome back to Sector 2814, the Green Lantern Podcast, episode 100, kids. That's right. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, it is Master of the Court.
I'm Will. Hey, everyone.
And as you should all know, yes, we are doing some classic first appearances by 6 legendary figures.
Absolutely.
I was going to say no Hal Jordan, but we kind of did him in episode 1.
Exactly. And probably multiple times since then, because we also talked Emerald Twilight.
Oh, yeah. And we did Cal Rayner, so.
Yeah.
All right. Here's my little surprise for you. All right. Remember when I remember when we got the Cal Funkos? I said it was part of that Justice League. Do you remember the other? Well, I got 2, but do you remember the other one? I said, "Oh, I should get it. I should get it just for the sheer humor of it."
You got Mullet Superman.
Yes. Wait.
Nothing says the 90s like Mullet Superman.
I'm planning on anyway, but I should have taken him out of the box beforehand just so you could see him in all his mulleted glory. Yes. and of course, just for the joke of it, you know who else I got, right?
Batman.
Batman.
My favorite character.
I have a bunch of Batmans already. But yes.
Batman. My favorite character.
I would have got the Flash one too, but they didn't have the Flash. I think the only other one, because I was Christmas shopping at Target, the only other ones I saw in the store, I believe, were Martian Manhunter and Wonder Woman.
There's a John Stewart Superpowers figure, I think, at Walmart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I almost picked that up too. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I said to you, I guess they're putting out figures that look like the classic Superpowers figure from the 80s. Yeah, because like they have a Flash one that looks very similar to the one they put out in the 80s, and they put out a Green Lantern, but instead of Hal Jordan like it was in the 80s, this one's John Stewart. John Stewart, yeah.
Looks like his 80s suit, right?
Yeah, and speaking of John Stewart, just in about 5 days, we should get.
Yes.
Well, you should get. I won't get until probably the end of next month. Emerald Knight #1, right?
Yeah, because my comic shop the guy usually puts out a list of stuff that's coming in that week, and it is on the list. So yeah, I should have it Wednesday.
And I don't think there were any Green Lantern books listed in previews this time, right?
Yeah, no, because I forget when's that.
It's going to be April. I think April is.
I think Hal went maybe April. Yeah, because I don't think our solicits are past like February or March. So
yeah, so it'll probably be February until we get solicits for the first issue. Hopefully we'll know who the artist is going to be on the first Green Lantern book, and then I assume later we'll find out who the artist is on the second one.
Oh, you do realize who we could get on one of those, right?
Marco Santucci.
Oh no! I'm sorry. No. Well, no, we're not getting him. I was going to say Capullo, but no, he's going back to Marvel for something. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, he's going back to Marvel.
I was going to say, damn it, we could have got the Quasar, one of our Quasar artists, but no, he's going back to Marvel for a project.
I'm pretty sure it won't be Quasar, but you know,
who knows? I mean, the current creative team is leaving the Hulk pretty soon because I've seen people hinting around that maybe Capullo will be on the Hulk or something.
That would be interesting looking. Yeah, that could be cool. I mean, he's, for his Marvel work, he's going to be best known for X-Force, right? Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he did the Quasar issues of Infinity War, so he's pretty much he drew basically everyone who was in the Marvel universe at the time.
At that time, yeah, exactly. In a giant fight, and they're doppelgangers. Oh, unless he's doing Avengers, because I don't know if the artist is sticking around, but I know Jason Aaron, like he's like on his last arc, and then he's leaving after the last couple years. So,
okay, interesting, very interesting. Maybe we'll get at least a drawing of Quasar by Capullo.
Oh yeah, Capullo. If whoever the new writer is asks you who you want on the team, say Quasar.
Say Quasar. That's right.
Always say Quasar.
That's right.
All right, and they really didn't do a ton in this, but Dark Crisis #7 is out with our with our Lord and Savior Richard Grayson on the cover.
Bow down.
I mean, that whole thing is just basically just like Nightwing and Deathstroke like battling. I don't know if it's in their minds or something, but it's like, it's basically, Deathstroke couldn't resist the Great Darkness, but Nightwing can.
Because he's Dick Grayson.
That's right. And of course, I mean, they already said it's coming, but basically the Justice League's not getting back together right away. Batman's like, we have to rethink things. And I'm like, we've done this before, haven't we?
In the last 50 years, yes, we've done it a couple of times probably. Or if not more.
I mean, didn't they do that before the 2007 run? Didn't they do... Oh, yeah, because after Infinite... Detroit, I was going to say, after Infinite Crisis, when Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman took that year off, yeah.
Crisis on Infinite Earths, where the Justice League reformed kind of without them. You got Justice League International, yeah. But, okay, whatever.
I don't know how many times they have to sit and think, what is the Justice League? What should it be?
Don't we know by now? I think we should know by now.
So basically, Batman basically tells Nightwing at the end of this, if there's going to be one person who leads us into the future, it's going to be you. Because, yes, they've already stated, the Titans are pretty much going to be filling that gap till the Justice League's back. And, of course, since he had a movie, Black Adam's been all over Dark Crisis, so.
Yeah. And it looks like they didn't really address any of the weird continuity glitches with the Green Lanterns at all.
No. I wonder if there are... I mean, there wasn't time, but again, they should have given them their own miniseries.
Or their own series, perhaps.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I wonder if they were leave all the continuity stuff for the next person or people. Because, I mean, they pretty much, except for just like them battling in the background, they pretty much, the only big Green Lantern stuff is like those 2 pages I showed you, and it's,
Yeah.
Basically just Hal and Barry talking.
Mm-hmm.
Especially that one panel, that last panel when Hal's like, my family's bigger than anyone's, and all the lanterns are behind him. And it's like, bigger than it should be. Half those people are missing or dead.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was a preview for Emerald Knight out on somewhere.
Oh.
On the DC side or something. That's like the first couple of pages, I think.
And it's just, I didn't see it. Interesting?
I don't know. There's not enough there to really judge because I think there's only 3-4 pages max, and John shows up with a bunch of Green Lanterns on the last page. So you're like, okay, you kind of get an idea of what's going on, but there's not really much else there,
Yeah. And then it's so weird. Okay, spoilers, kids, for the end of this thing. There's like an epilogue because it's like, this is going to lead into like a brighter, happier DC. But then in the epilogue, it's just like Amanda Waller's just like talking to these like bunch of shadowy people, and it's like, we have to control these metahumans, and the shadowy figure's like, no, you can just go kill them all, and it's like, okay, and then of course, Suicide Squad, yeah.
That escalated quickly.
Exactly. Bright, happy DC universe, yes.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Exactly.
I know. Because we get, looks like Peacemaker, a lady Peacemaker. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a new Amazo there, because it looks like purple and green Batman Superman mix, but whatever it is has like, looks like it's giving off like a yellow ring or something.
I don't know.
But of course, to be continued in 2023.
And we're almost there. Well, if you're listening to this, you already are in the far-flung future of 2023.
That's right. That's right, kids.
We're speaking to you from the far distant past of 2022.
We're a few days before Christmas. A few days before Christmas, so.
Yeah.
So, that John Stewart issue was great.
Oh yeah, we haven't got that yet.
All right. So, anything else, or should we get to these issues? Because since we have 6 tonight,
let's get to these issues because there's
a lot to unpack.
There's a lot to unpack.
All right. I think there's synopses for all these. So the ones that have two stories in each issue, are we just going to do the story?
Yeah, that's fine. We can.
Appearance?
I mean,
okay.
We don't necessarily want to talk about the super pteranodons if you don't want to.
Dinosaurs. I mean, I read them all, but yeah.
I did too.
All right. So yes. So if we said we're going to go chronologically, so the first one would be Green Lantern number 7 from August 1961. Hold on, I put up the synopsis for number 9. They tried to trick me. Sinestro's on that cover too.
So I was surprised because I thought that there was a lot more to. I guess I was remembering the retcons, from Emerald Dawn 2, and more with Hal and Sinestro training, which are all retcons because that wasn't how it started out, as we see in issue number 7.
Oh yeah, they got right to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Green Lantern numbers. Well, I can't believe it's already volume 2. Volume 2, number 7. August 1961. The story we're going to focus on: the day 100,000 people vanished. Writer John Broome, penciler Gil Kane, inker Joe Galea, letterer Gaspar Saladino, and editor Julius Schwartz. When the entire population of Valdale suddenly vanishes, Green Lantern's astral form is summoned by the Guardians of the Universe. The Guardians tell him of Sinestro, an alien they choose to be the Green Lantern of Korgar. However, Sinestro abused his powers and used them to enslave his planet and install himself as dictator. As punishment, the Guardians stripped Sinestro of his powers and banished him to Quard in the antimatter universe. They then warn that Sinestro has formed an alliance with the Weaponers of Quard to finally defeat the Green Lantern by potentially exploiting his vulnerability when his Power Ring's 24-hour charge runs out. Part of the plan was to transport people from Valdale to Quard in a sweeping attempt to capture Green Lantern, who was scheduled to be in that town. Having his mind return to his body, this time allowing Green Lantern to remember his encounter, Hal flies to the next city, which is targeted by Sinestro. In order to prevent the people there from being transported to Quard, Green Lantern makes them all invisible, and only he is transported to Quard. There he battles the Quardian Weaponers, however, surrenders when Sinestro promises to return the people of Valdale to Earth. In doing so, Green Lantern is encased in a yellow bubble, and Sinestro and the Quardians time the moments left in the Power Ring's charge. However, when they release Green Lantern, they are shocked to find that he still has power in his ring and is able to defeat them all. He reveals to Sinestro that he had found a tiny hole in the yellow bubble he was trapped in and used his Power Ring to fire compressed air at the clock they were watching to make it reach the 24-hour mark faster, so that they would think that his ring ran out of power when it still had some time left. He then imprisoned Sinestro in a force bubble of his own before returning to Earth and appearing at an opening of a boys' settlement house in Valdale. Thoughts?
I love how he says, I was prepared for everything except for him to use 100,000 people as hostages. Wait, what? I mean, that's kind of obvious. You would,
yes.
Okay, whatever.
And again, much more villainous than his rebooted origin. When he was obsessed with order. Here, he's just like, why do I have to live in this place? I'll make the best. I'll have the best home on the planet.
I am the evilest of evil evils.
Yes. Power corrupts. Come on, kid.
Yeah, and I guess I really like how much more complicated and deep the relationship between Hal and Sinestro, and actually Sinestro and the other core members are, post Rebirth, because there's that great line in Rebirth where I think Green Arrow says, guy jokes about every one of Hal's villains except Sinestro.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, this is. Yeah, he turns everybody invisible. I mean, there seems to be a, I don't know, it would seem to me that there would be easier ways to accomplish this, but whatever. It's from 1961, and it's clearly not aimed at an adult reader. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I had forgotten, it's like the Guardians just summoned his astral form, and half the time they didn't let him remember, like, coming to meet them and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess we'll let you remember. You're cleaning up our mess. I guess we'll let you remember.
So, yeah. But, first appearance of Sinestro. He's an ex-Green Lantern with a big old axe to grind, right?
Mm-hmm. And remember when we let any masked man talk to a bunch of boys?
Apparently, yeah. What was the second story in that issue?
Oh, that was Wings of Destiny. Remember when Tom met his future, was picking up his future wife at the airport? Yes.
Yeah.
When she
got turned into a bird.
Oh, the power ring turned him into a bird.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that anymore?
I can think of a few reasons.
Oh my god! And I don't know. Was this kind of racist? It's like she could barely speak English, and
yeah, there was some, and of course his nickname. It's So there's definite underlying racism in that story, and I think if you look back at the first story, there's everybody in the city is probably white. There's not really any diversity or anything like that. Yeah. 1961, we're going to get up to a point where, that's hopefully different, actually during the show, right? But,
the most diversity we got was some of the gentlemen weren't wearing hats on their head,
It's 1961.
Exactly.
Yes. Which is strange because as much criticism as we can throw at the book for that, the next issue where we get a female Green Lantern is really, there are some touches of misogyny there, but it's really not, because, hey, she's good. They want to keep her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll talk more about that when we get to it. But, yeah, Sinestro being, mustache twirling, evil, for evil's sake. Yeah. He gets a lot more complex and, dare I say it, cooler decades later.
And they literally rip that badge off his chest too. It's just like,
yeah,
you're done. And wasted no time throwing him in the antimatter universe.
Yeah,
although he was more evil. I mean, he went straight evil. It's not like he was like perfection and order.
And kind of not necessarily the best choice by the Guardians to give him resources. So, oh well. Just a long line of questionable decisions.
Yes, let's throw them to these evil weaponers who have, their name are the weaponers.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready for the next one?
You bet. That's the first appearance of Sinestro.
Yes.
Green Lantern 7 from 1961.
Yes. All right. And the next one, chronologically, will be Katma from Green Lantern number 30, July 1964. The first, Katma's the second story, because the first one is the Tunnel Through Time, featuring the dinosaurs and the pterodactyl aliens.
Super pterodactyl.
Don't worry, kids. We don't have to worry about them. They won't be able to see our planet for, another 100 million years or something?
I think so, yeah. It's quite a while, so, that's a problem for tomorrow.
If the planet's still even here.
Yep.
But no, yes, the story we're concerned with is Once a Green Lantern, Always a Green Lantern by John Broome, Gil Kane, inker Sid Green, letterer Gaspar. Yes, basically it's the same team almost, except for, inker Sid Green. All right. No, that's the tunnel. All right. Summoned to the planet Oa by the Guardians of the Universe, Hal Jordan is dispatched to the planet Korugar to convince the Green Lantern there, Sinestro's replacement, to continue being a Green Lantern after they decided to resign from the position. Arriving on Korugar, Hal is shocked to find that Katma is a woman, as she is the first female Green Lantern he's met. Oh boy, it all starts here, kids. Asking her why she wants to cease being the Green Lantern, she recounts a past adventure in which she defended Korugar from a gigantic amoeba, and she fell in love with a local scientist named Imi Khan. When another giant amoeba terrorizes Korugar, both Hal and Katma work to defeat the creature. Afterwards, to decide once and for all which is more important to her, she and Hal create a machine to determine if she is more devoted to loving Imi Khan or being a Green Lantern. When her loyalty shows that she's more loyal to the Green Lanterns, she decides to stay with the Green Lanterns after the decision is made. Hal returns home. And of course, yes, that later, I think as you were saying, Emerald Dawn 2, this kind of gets retconned because he meets her before Sinestro gets tossed out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think it's really full. I mean, because this is number 30, which is from 1964. I mean, I think you have to give it props because it's way ahead of the curve. Yeah. Hey, they had a woman Green Lantern, and they didn't make her give it up to be a wife and mother. So.
Although there is that line at the end where Hal's like, "Oh no, I love Carol. What if I have to choose?" He's like, but maybe the difference is I'm a man and Katma 2 is a woman.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get that in 149 with Salaak's first appearance, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Like, wait, you hypocrite.
Oh, I remember that, especially when John takes over. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. But, I thought it was a pretty good story. I mean.
And once again, I mean, it wasn't the main story for the last issue, but just like turning Tom into a bird. Now we're creating a machine with the power ring to say, okay, who are you more loyal to, your love or your duty?
Yeah, it's got some goofy stuff in it.
And
he tricks her because he recreates that amoeba thing. So it's not perfect, but. I still think it was pretty forward thinking to show that, hey, a woman could be a Green Lantern and be good at it, right? Yes. Good enough that the Guardians didn't want her to not be a Green Lantern anymore.
Yes, how Jordan crushed her love so we can have another, so we can keep this Green Lantern.
Exactly. Hal's like, I'm on it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sirs.
But again, yeah, like Katma 2, he says, he's like a little kind of a hypocrite, because later on he wants to leave for love.
Oh yeah, and he does,
and that blows up in his face.
Oh, it certainly does. Anything else in this? I mean, it was a really short story, but I think it was fairly well done.
No, it was good. Yeah, but I was gonna say, were they the same length, or was this one might have been a little shorter because it was the second story?
I think so, yeah.
Were they just like, young boys aren't gonna want to read too much about this woman, trying to decide between love and duty. Let's give them dinosaurs.
Flying dinosaurs with mental powers.
Dinosaur aliens.
Exactly. Wait, let's make them robots and make them transform. Sorry.
They're not going to care about Stan's Spider-Man. Let's give them the dinosaur aliens. All right, so we moving on to the next one.
So that's Sinestro and Katma 2 down, and we're on to everybody's lovable lunkhead.
Everyone's favorite
Gardner.
Everyone's favorite redneck, yes. All right, so yes, the first appearance of Guy Gardner from Green Lantern 59, March 1968. So close, love. Earth's other Green Lantern. Basically the same team again. On the planet Oa, the Guardians show Hal Jordan the Memory Machine, a device that records all the memories of the Green Lanterns for historical preservation. They then show the final moments of Abinsur's life and how he happened to choose Hal Jordan as the most likely candidate to be his successor as Green Lantern. After, they also explain that Hal was the closest, as there was another person just as noble as Hal was that could have been selected. Intrigued by this, Hal was also told the memory machine could compute what would have happened if the other person was selected. Viewing the situation, Hal learns that the next person is a physical education instructor from East City named Guy Gardner. Gardner is selected to be the Green Lantern for Earth, and much like Hal, busts up a ring of spies. Gardner would also tackle Hal's foes Sonar, the Shark, Black Hand, Dr. Polaris, and Sinestro. Later on a mission to a planet where the Yellow Plague killed off all the adults, Guy learns that the surviving children divided into two factions and have gone to war with each other with giant robots. Being used as a pawn at first, Guy manages to free himself and stop the ongoing struggle and convince the children of the planet to live in peace. Returning to Earth, Guy would soon fall victim to the Yellow Plague himself and would summon Hal Jordan to take his place as Green Lantern. With the story done, a curious Hal takes a business trip to East City to meet the real guy Gardner, and the two become fast friends before Hal is to return to the West Coast.
Because he's what? An insurance salesman.
Oh, yes, he does mention that, yes. Already, had you asked me before this podcast if he became an insurance salesman this quickly, I would not have thought so, but...
I wouldn't have either. I mean, I guess I hadn't read that far in the original 60 series, just because I'm like, test pilot to insurance adjuster or insurance investigator or whatever the heck he is. I mean, and it won't be long till he becomes a truck driver. So
I know. But the whole plot, and I swear, hasn't there been times where Guy Gardner's just like, "Oh, you only got picked by Adam Sir because you were closest"? Hal should have been like, "Yeah, well, if you would have got picked first, you would have been dead.
You'd be dead."
Idiot. But the whole plot.
Yeah, this guy is not our guy. This guy is the straight up noble.
Oh yeah,
noble hero guy. Before he starts, This is before many head injuries.
We'll get to one injury, but pretty soon. Next one we cover. Yeah. But the whole plot with like the planet full of children. Again, it's 1968. It kind of struck me as like either a Star Trek plot or like a Twilight Zone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of weird, but hey, it's first guy Gardner. Although it's we don't see him in continuity as Green Lantern until later, and I'm not sure what issue we see him, but it's much later from what I understand, right?
Isn't it like 190 something, 180 or 190 something? It's like right before Crisis, I think, the original Crisis.
Yeah, I think so because
no, because doesn't he? Is he act like
the battery explodes?
Yeah, okay. I think it's like maybe like 120s, one in the 110s or the 120s. I think. Yeah, because that's his second head injury that puts him in a coma, right? When that battery explodes.
I think so.
Yeah. Ugh. Yes, after many head injuries. Because I think
after many head injuries.
Like I had read this before, but I think like right before he comes out, the Guardians bring him out of that coma to to lead the villains, around Crisis. I think they actually do reprint this issue, so they do reprint this in a later issue.
Okay, so it looks like we see him show up with John Stewart's first appearance, which I thought was kind of cool. I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
and then it looks like he shows up in 116, 117, 121, 22, 23, 24, and then 189.
Yeah.
So wow.
Okay. This is the one I have reprinted in Green Lantern 184. This story, so
gotcha.
Preparing us, so when he comes out of that coma, people aren't like, who?
Oh, and because I guess in those 121 issues before he gets blown up,
wasn't that the whole Kari Limbo stuff and
Kari Limbo? Yeah, that's where. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Remember her? We talked about her around issue 18 or so, kids.
Yeah, it's been a while.
when Guy was beating on Goldface at the carnival or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's just like, this is the guy. It's kind of like, this is what could have happened. I'm trying to remember. Did he have a back? So did he? I mean, we'll get to what happens to the guy kind of in the next issue, but it's just like. Did
Guy have a backup as well? Then would that have been Hal?
I was going to say, well, did Hal have a replacement at this point?
I don't think he did.
Because I was going to say, right now they don't do backups because the Ring just finds somebody. But I was going to did anyone? I'm assuming they didn't even have backups at this point because wouldn't Ab and Sura have had one in place if that was the
that was the case, yeah, and we don't even really mention having a backup until the John Stewart issue, which is where hey, Guy Gardner's injured, so we need a new backup. So,
or did they not have faith in Hal, where they're just like, we're gonna need a backup?
And it's funny because Hal was training John, not Kilowog, who we'll get to shortly. I was surprised by that because he was just another Green Lantern. He wasn't the trainer.
Yeah,
and that's another retcon, I think. And it's it's a retcon I like. Kilowog is the That's the one that trains all the Green Lanterns.
Yeah, he's the drill. He's the drill sergeant. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was that was that from the '90s series, or I wonder if they did that any earlier?
I think that was from the '90s. I really do. I think, and then I think that's something else that was even more retconned after Rebirth. Is that Kilowog is the trainer. Yeah.
Once they have thousands of Green Lanterns again. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So should we get to the next one?
You bet.
All right. Green Lantern 87, the first appearance of Green Lantern Green Arrow 87, the first appearance of John Stewart. From December 71, January 72. So we were.
Hey, that's I'm just as old as that issue. Exactly.
Oh damn. Well, I was going to say, is that every other? So what was this coming out every other month then, or?
I think so. Yeah. So December of 71. Yeah. That's yeah. All right.
All right. So
thanks for making me feel old, Phil.
Hey, no problem. And this time they kind of split it, 'cause they do a Green Lantern story and they do a
Green Arrow story.
Green Arrow story. Yeah. Because
they do a reprint.
Oh yeah. yeah. But no, it was funny because like what was it, like a year ago, Lilith and I were doing an episode on Green Arrow, and like she picked this Green Arrow story.
Oh really?
Yeah. As one of her picks. Yeah. All right. So yeah, kids, important issue here. All right, Green Lantern, Green Arrow 87. Beware my powers. The story we're looking at. Writer Dennis O'Neil, penciler Neil Adams, inker Dick Giordano, letterer John Costanza, and editor Julius Schwartz. So so basically, yes. Again, this is the O'Neil era. We've switched up everyone except for the editor.
The hard traveling heroes.
Yep. As Green Lantern charges his ring, an earthquake hits Coast City. He investigates, saving lives, including that of his friend Guy Gardner, who is injured after being hit by a bus.
Literally hit by a bus.
What happened? What happened to your replacement? I caught a bus.
Yeah.
Hal worries that with Guy out of commission, there will be no one to replace him if something goes wrong. Suddenly, the image of one of the Guardians of the Universe appears, stating that there must be an alternate replacement selected. Again, did anyone else ever have a replacement? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Guardians lead Green Lantern to a ghetto where John Stewart is standing up to a police officer. Hal has his doubts about Stewart, but the Guardian is insistent. After Hal explains the job, John Stewart accepts, joking that he will need to be called the Black Lantern.
Can I interject something here?
Sure.
It's like, hey, I want you to be a Green Lantern. Sure, I ain't got nothing else better to do. I'm like, what the? I mean, God bless Denny O'Neil, but the hip lingo is really, really dated.
Yeah,
I think it was dated when it was written.
Well, again, it's the early 70s, and it's a bunch of old white men trying to write a young black man, so...
Exactly.
You jive, turkey.
And hey, he is an architect.
Yes. That's the one thing I miss, him being the architect. Hal teaches John the oath and gives John a ring. Hal creates a Green Lantern uniform for John, but John refuses to wear the domino mask. He tosses it aside, saying, "This black man lets it all hang out. I've got nothing to hide." Together, the Lanterns deal with a protest against Jeremiah Clutcher, a racist senator. But John seems ambivalent. Hal assigns John to protect Senator Clutcher to teach him a lesson. But when a would-be assassin attacks Clutcher, John refuses to act, and Hal is forced to chase the assassin down by himself. Despite his earlier inaction, John thwarts a gunman from killing a nearby policeman. When Hal returns to chastise John Stewart, John reveals that he had seen both gunmen earlier and allowed the assassin to escape because he knew the gun contained blanks. Both shootings were part of a ploy to make it seem as though John was on a rampage and Clutcher was a hero. Afterwards, Hal admits that he's not a fan of John's style, but however, nonetheless accepts him as a recruit, to which the other replies that style was no more important than the color of one's skin. That's one to grow on.
And now you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, that's... I think this kind of sums... I mean, first off, Neil Adams on art. Brilliant, yes. Of course. That's the legendary Neil Adams on art.
Yes.
And, Denny O'Neil is a legendary writer and editor. But these stories are 50 years old at this point. And to me, while they were groundbreaking, in 1969, 70, and 71, or whenever they came out, they do feel really dated, and oftentimes I feel like very preachy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this one, and which is a lot more than what was being done in comics, elsewhere at the same time. So I get that. It's just, I find them difficult to read sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the original, like the 60s stories, the fantasies are, it's fantasy for children. These are aspiring to be something more, so I hold them to, I guess, a little bit higher of a standard.
Yeah.
Which maybe is fair, maybe not fair, but they do feel preachy to me.
They are dated.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the earlier stories were like children's stories. They were science fiction stories. Denny O'Neil broke them out of the mold of Hal fights a giant amoeba or, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it made people think, but the writing is kind of dated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it's, again, and I've said this 1,000 times before, I'm sure, is that I really feel like it was at the expense of Hal. It was... who was already reeling from being, an insurance salesman or whatever he was, then a toy salesman, and then truck driver.
Yeah.
Are we to the truck driver phase yet? This was just kind of the second punch, that kind of knocked, which he really didn't recover from until, Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like.
Oh, yeah. From 75 on, we're hitting him with oregano, we're hitting him with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But... yeah, we've talked about it before, but again, it's like the characterization of Hal, I think you agreed, isn't completely spot on in Hard Traveling Heroes, just because they need him to play the straight man, the Oliver Queen's liberal,
yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I don't know if crazy test pilot jockeys are the best straight guys, to play out, because they're not exactly ones to follow the rules,
Well, at this point, how long has it been since he's been a test pilot? He was an insurance salesman, exactly. Which is pretty square. He was a toy salesman,
which is, and then a truck driver. I feel like the 70s and 80s were not particularly kind to Hal, and they certainly weren't kind to Katma.
No. He's way more brash, but in hindsight, would Guy Gardner have been a better choice to travel the country with Oliver Queen? Because you could play him as like the redneck, almost like skirting the line of racist, maybe.
Yes, but the problem with that is that Hal was Green Lantern, right? So they weren't going to replace him.
Yeah.
So. It's something I think his character just had to endure, and we saw the end result of that was Emerald Twilight, right?
Yeah. They could have, in issue 75, they could have hit Hal with a bus, and then Guy Gardner takes over.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not above it, Will.
No, they're not. They've done it before. But, as far as introductions go, this is, we see John as capable and...
yeah, but
able to do the job.
But really trying to steer that angry black man skid, yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, once again, the story is 50 years old, and also, you're getting, like I said, you're getting rated. Every book pretty much is getting written by old white men.
Yeah, or young white men at that point.
Some, but I think some of them might have still been. Yeah,
some of them are still old. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it was 71. That's pretty. That's the thing is, Hard Traveling Heroes really pushed a lot of the edges of what was acceptable.
Yeah.
In mainstream comics, right? And having a John's not a lead character, but he's kind of a lead character. He's another Green Lantern, right? Having a black lead character in 1971 was kind of, we had the Black Panther from the 60s,
yeah,
and in Fantastic Four, but there wasn't a lot of black characters at that time. So this is it is pushing those edges in a good way.
Oh yeah, even back
it's
then.
Just
even back then. Back then it was very groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but 50 years later, I think some people are just like, yeah, so, but it's like,
exactly.
it's like, look at the comics of the time, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, again, a groundbreaking run by legendary creators that hits me differently as an older white dude now, because I'm an old white dude now too, I guess. But it feels a little, seeing what we've been able to accomplish in comics over the last 50 years, and then going back and reading these stories. The art is gorgeous. I don't think you can find any faults with the art. That's Neil Adams. But the stories seem a little ham-handed, right? I guess, just a little, they're preachy. They're not subtle.
Yeah.
And I think that we wouldn't necessarily have what we have now without them pushing those boundaries.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, while I both love and still am somewhat critical of it. So, there you go.
I found it's incredible that there's this groundbreaking run, and then they, in the middle of it, they introduced Jon Stewart, who's still popular to this day, 50 years later.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they wouldn't have done that, it wouldn't have been Jon Stewart in the Justice League cartoon.
No,
right?
no.
We wouldn't have had Jon Stewart, during, leading up to Crisis, where, which was, I think it was around the same time that Rhodey replaced Iron Man, Tony Stark as Iron Man, and you had Jon Stewart replacing Hal as the Green Lantern of Earth,
And you know who wrote that whole Rhodey replacing Tony Stark? Denny O'Neil.
Denny O'Neil. Who's that? Who's that guy? I don't know who that is. Yeah, so I mean, it is a groundbreaking run. It really is, but it's not without its warts. How about that?
True. Yeah, and again, I mean, just that comes with time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although, I don't know. I think that O'Neil and Adams were like kind of on the avant-garde of pushing the comics medium, mainstream comics, into being, more complex, perhaps a lot more grown up.
Mm-hmm.
But if look at this issue, and then look at say John Byrne's run on Fantastic Four in the 80s, or Walt Simonson's run on Thor. Those I think have aged fantastic.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain, I don't know, there's a certain timelessness, but also a certain amount of, they're not trying to push the boundaries because the boundaries had already been pushed before them. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, do you think some of that too is like John Byrne and Simonson's Thor run? It's like they're dealing with more fantastical stuff. It's like, okay, I mean,
and this was
punching Dr. Doom in the face never goes out of style, but it's like, I mean, the Hard Traveling Heroes was very grounded in reality of the time.
And I think that's another hit to Green Lantern, because Green Lantern's not about grounded traveling across America trying to find yourself.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's not Green Lantern. But they used what they had, and they used it, I feel like, to the best effect that they could at the time. Obviously, Denny O'Neil, wrote a lot more stuff over the years, and I would say probably objectively better stuff, than Hard Traveling Heroes.
I think he was better with the grounded stuff. Like, I'd say his Batman stuff is probably his best work.
Yeah.
Batman, my favorite character.
Thank you for letting me get that in.
You're welcome. All right, Jon Stewart. Good first appearance.
Oh yeah. All right, so next up, we are going to go to Green Lantern, skip all the way to Green Lantern 149 from February 1982, the first appearance of Salaak. All right.
And he's kind of a curmudgeon.
Yes. Death by Fire and Ice. Writer Marv Wolfman. Penciler Joe Staton. Remember in the 90s, he was our Guy Gardner artist.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Inker Dennis Jensen, colors Gene D'Angelo, and letterer Shelley Lefferman. Hal Jordan arrives at Oa under the Guardian's command. Word of his giving up his ring had spread across the other Corps members, who try to convince him to stay. Orisia reminds him of the speech he gave when they confronted Krona, and Katma Tui of the and Katma Tui of the time she was about to quit the Corps. Remember Green Lantern 30 from a couple minutes ago, kids?
Exactly.
Hold on. Where's my editor's note? Remember Green Lantern 30 from the time?
Hal's a hypocrite.
That's right. No. And he convinced her to stay. The Guardians warn him that he's been using his ring for minor crimes on Earth, ignoring the needs of the rest of his sector. Still, Hal is sure of his decision, and he claims that he'll help the Ungarans with their current crisis, but after that, he'll give up his ring. Meanwhile, on Earth, Stenil defeats Goldface and then goes for his next target, Green Lantern. He follows the residual energy of his ring toward Ferris Aircraft, where he uses his persuasive powers to force Carol into revealing Green Lantern's location. Unable to resist, Carol tells him that Hal is heading to Oa. On his way to Oa, he sees Aricia flying off, so he follows her. When Hal arrives in Angara, he learns that the inhabitants have started a civil war after his last visit, which caused many disasters like earthquakes, tidal waves, and even moving their planet away from the sun. In consequence, Angara's temperature dropped, covering half of the world with ice. Hal makes several attempts to save them, like moving the planet, picking the ice, or using the planet's magma to thaw the surface, but each of his plans fail. Suddenly, Aricia appears in Angara to lend a hand. She suggests using a mirror to deflect the light rays of the sun toward the planet. Taking a fragment of a crystal moon, the two Green Lanterns create a giant mirror that does the job. However, they get attacked by Stenil, and he moves the mirror in a position that starts scorching the planet. Aricia saves Angara by placing the reflector in the correct position, but another attack from the Guardian causes her to fall and crash on the surface. With no backup to help him, Stenil takes Hal Jordan to court. Which, again, yeah, even though this is Salaak's first appearance, he really doesn't get a lot to do. He's basically in that crowd scene at the beginning.
Yeah, and he's just talking trash about Hal, so, you know.
This is your great Green Lantern!
There is a cover, and I can't remember, it's like the 170s, I think. It's called Salaak and Alas. You know, Alack and Alas. You know, where he's you know, it's a classic kind of romance cover.
Yeah, no. Isn't that later on during the Green Lantern Corps run? You know, like in the 200s? I thought it was.
Might be.
I thought it was further down. Yeah.
I'll look it up, man.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, all four arms wrapped around a crit chick. Yeah. Oh. So yeah, I mean, not as big a first appearance as the rest of the ones we've covered so far.
Yeah.
This is probably out of the six, I'd say this is the weakest first. Not a bad story, but as a first appearance goes, it's not the most memorable.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's... And, you know, I think they were kind of still trying to get his model right, because he looks much different now than... Not a whole lot. I mean, but there's some pretty big differences, I think, in the way he's physically portrayed, you know, between now and then. So it is kind of a weak first appearance for him, but, you know, 149. All right, let's see if we can find that cover.
And don't even get me started on the backup story, Earth's first Green Lantern.
Again, with the...
Which has been retconned by then. Because it's a guy,
Yes.
what was it, 1873 or something, and...
Yeah.
Not even creative. Abbotsford crashes and needs a temporary replacement.
So he gets a sheriff, an Old West sheriff. Yeah, I'm like, wow, okay, cool.
This is a nice planet. Like next time I think I'm about to die, I'm gonna come back here. Just the coincidence of it. It's just like the dude always gets injured when he's approaching Earth.
And he's in a ship there too. And you know, they had told the story why he was in a ship the first time because of, you know, the I node or I level stealing alien star thingies, whatever that one was.
Yeah. Or remember in Emerald Dawn 2, he was attacked by that thing in the yellow armor.
Yes, that's right. Minion, was that Minion or?
I think so.
I can't remember. But you know, it's really I personally, and again, you know, the retcon of Secret Origin, you know, that Jeff Johns did about 3 years into the Rebirth era, was really, I think, well thought out and well done, because it involves Abin Sur involves Atrocitus. It involves Sinestro. And we find out more things about how close Sinestro and Abin Sur, are and were, because Sinestro married his sister, right?
Oh, yeah. I think so.
So, I mean, it's, I like that there's a lot more layers added to the fact of why he crash landed here. Because, it didn't really make much sense for him to be in a ship because Hal never uses a ship, right? I mean...
Yeah, we never see most of the Green Lanterns using a ship, yeah.
So, I mean, I get it, and you're right. This is kind of... Yeah, he's the first appearance of Salaak, and he's back in a crowd scene, and he's, talking smack about Hal. So, not the best, but...
Again, yeah. Unlike everyone else, I don't think they knew who they had at the time. It's just like, we need an alien Green Lantern. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Here's this dude with 4 arms, looks like an anteater. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that works. That works well. Let's do that. It's wild too because I was going through on comics.org, the Grand Comic Database, and there were rarely, up until like 180, 190 even, there were rarely issues of Green Lantern that had a full 22-page story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was some kind of backup there. There was either Adam Strange or there was a Tales of the Green Lantern Corps or something. So,
yeah.
It's like there wasn't much in the way of, they couldn't get a full story in.
Yeah.
So the stories felt truncated, and I think that also kind of hurt, the title, for a long time. So, here's number 181. He quits.
Yes.
181.
Yes.
Throws the ring down.
Because I was going to say, he doesn't quit till then. So I'm trying to remember. So how did they drag this out? Didn't the Guardians make him stay in space for a year or something?
Or something. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. And then John Stewart comes back, and then let's see, we got John Stewart. So I think you may be right. Salaak. I'm looking for that Salaak cover, but Salaak really becomes. I think he becomes much more of a Green Lantern stable in Volume 3. Well, actually, at the end of Volume 2, where it's the Green Lantern Corps, and he's on Earth along with Chip and the rest of them.
Wait, here we go.
But he...
215. Look at 215. That's.
Oh, is that the one?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't feel like Green Lantern got a really good shot at, building an audience because it was like, 14-page stories or 12-page stories, and then it always had a backup in it or something. I don't feel like it, it never really was given the resources to kind of grow like it should have. Although, according to some stuff. I think I saw this on a podcast that I was on. They were talking about Action Comics Weekly. But, their contention was that Green Lantern was one of the best sellers when Steve Englehart and Joe Staton were working on it, which kind of explains the Millennium crossover, because I think that happens, post 200 in Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps, right?
Yeah.
So, if it was selling so well at that point, and by that point, it had full length stories in it, I just don't know kind of where it falls, I guess. I mean, because it's definitely unlike any Green Lantern that I have read in a long, long time. I mean, with the Corps being there, and then they kill Sinestro, and then boom, the rings are dead. I think they kill him in the final issue of the series. What was that, 220?
I think it was 220. I think it was like 224, because it was weird. Because remember, we did cover that. It was like episode 3 or something. And I was like, man, we really couldn't do a 225. You really couldn't stretch it out one more issue.
One more issue? Yeah, I mean, come on, that's crazy,
Yeah, because most of the rings are like dead. The ones working are like Hal, John, and guys, I think.
Yeah, and maybe Katma's, or maybe not, because...
because I think that's how she was killed so easily, because she didn't have a ring.
So easily, exactly, which is still annoying to me, but whatever,
Yeah.
Right. So let's see, 1987, Green Lantern Corps, there we go. from 1986.
But yeah, it's like, well, I mean, you were saying, the Green Lantern, for the longest time had trouble doing a full-length story in a book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, we're going to be going, the first issue we covered tonight, 1961. The last one we're going to cover is going to be 1986. That's 25 years. That span of 25 years is only, 2 issues out of these 6 that are, because I think wasn't the Guy Gardner one a full-length one, and then the last one we're going to do is a full-length one. The rest of them have backups.
Yeah, I mean, and there were lots of different and don't get me wrong, there are some really awesome Tales of Green Lantern Corps backups, but have an Adam Strange backup for 12 issues, or I've got the list around here somewhere. I'll share it with you, but I mean, it's just crazy that we in the 80s, we started getting more multi-issue arcs, right?
Yes.
And I don't necessarily feel like it would take a multi-issue arc just to get you a normal-sized issue of any other comic in Green Lantern, right?
Yeah.
So
whoa, and then once you hit Green Lantern Corps, starting in, we're about to do 201. I mean, you got 7 main characters. Yeah, you better do a full-length story.
Exactly, and then by that point, you've got 7 main characters. So,
that's a little too crowded.
It's a little too crowded, and then and then we jump into Action Comics Weekly, which is just bonkers. I mean, it really is bonkers. But then after Action Comics Weekly, we get an Emerald Dawn, which is a retelling of Hal's a much retconned retelling of Hal's origin. We get Emerald Dawn 2, and then we get the launch of Volume 3, which is where the bulk of this show has been, is us discussing all of those issues. And it's I don't know that the writer that launched Volume 3, and who I'm talking about, of course,
he whose name we do not speak. Yes. Yeah,
I don't know that he learned the lessons of the previous Green Lantern series.
Well, you could tell you could tell he loved the previous stuff, but there was a little too much.
I think a little too much
of the old stuff. Yeah, a little too much honoring the old ways. Yes. Yeah,
and then that ends, and we get a lot of books will kind of, like, if you look at Superman or you look at Batman, they're going to drift gradually and become more modern, right?
Yes.
I feel like Green Lantern kind of clawed and scraped and kept itself to a less modern title until finally it was, here's an axe, boom, you are now modern. And we had, Green Lantern number 51 with, a much more modern writer in the guise of Ron Mars, and probably a more modern penciler than what we would, had been getting on the previous series, in Darryl Banks, because we had, and then that, I think that alone, those two being on the title, being there month in, month out, so consistent for so long, did a tremendous amount to just help Green Lantern in general.
I mean, we pretty much changed everything. I mean, we changed the main character, except for the concept of a ring. I mean, we pretty much changed up everything. The core is gone. That was gone. Everything.
And I was reading. I'm going way afield here. You can tell me to shut up anytime. I was reading. Oh no, I was probably watching. I like to surf YouTube for Green Lantern stuff, so I just I go looking. I found somebody talking about Simon Baz and Jeff Johnson talking about Simon Baz, and I was always like, oh great, he's okay. First off, they made him a Muslim so that it's hip and it's with it or whatever. We're gonna, but there was a real reason for that, because Jeff Johnson was saying it's always, Green Lantern should always be about facing fear, and so there was a really important point of creating Simon and having him face being feared, and all of that, and it really gave me a lot more appreciation for the decision to introduce him. Now, I haven't read a lot of those stories, so I'm looking forward to when we get there to reading those. But,
yeah. I mean, they kind of did that with Jessica Cruz too, because when they first introduced her, she was like getting over like a bunch of anxiety and trauma, and
started out as Power Ring, because she got the Power Ring from Earth 2, I believe. Yeah.
Actually, they think they
So
actually.
that we went way afield there. What are we talking about?
well, should we jump to the last? Should we jump to the last issue too? Last issue.
You bet.
All right, kids. Yes, our last one tonight. The first appearance of a certain poozer we all know and love, Kilowog. Green Lantern Corps 201 from June 1986. Setting up shop, of course. Writer Steve Englehart. Penciler Joe Staton again. Inker Mark Farmer. Colorist Carl Gafford. Letterer Lois Buhalis. And editor Andrew Helfer. Chip and Salaak fly towards Earth. Both have agreed to join with the other Green Lanterns in patrolling Sector 2814. Chip tells Salaak of his recent return to his home world, Helvin, but as an effect of the crisis, his story there has been rewritten. On this new universe, Chip died years ago, and his wife, Minnie, is now married to his best friend, Dale. So now...
Chip and Dale.
Yes. Yes.
Gotta love that.
So now Chip feels like his only place is with the Corps, where he feels at home. Salaak too longs for a change of venue. After guarding both his own space sector as well as that of Katma, he no longer wishes to operate in such isolated conditions. Though he is too proud to admit it to anyone, Salaak feels lonely. Yeah, because didn't they show his I don't know if it was his home planet or wherever he lived. It was pretty desolate.
Yeah, there was like some amoeba worshiping a statue of him or something. It was really weird. I don't know what they have about amoeba, but there's something about amoeba, you know?
Protecting the little guy.
That's right.
They meet up with Hal, John, Katma, and Aricia on Earth, only to find that they are now joined by an additional 7th member, Kilowog of Bolivax Vic. This new lantern, originally a genetics scientist, claims that his sector was blown to bits during the crisis, and that he decided to join them when he heard the Guardians' briefing. The 7 Green Lanterns get to know each other better and set out to establish a new base of operations for themselves. Meanwhile, Sonar and 2 of his underlings, Throttle and Blindside, meet up with another esteemed supervillain, Dr. Polaris. Polaris is flanked by 3 of his own associates, Whiteout, Drop Dead, and Polestar. Polaris suggests forming an alliance with Sonar and his crew in an effort to destroy the Green Lantern Corps. Sonar agrees to this plan. On the planet Maltis, Appa Ali Apsa, remember that crazy guy, shows Guy Gardner his new living quarters. Guy is upset that the accommodations are so Spartan and feels that he deserves better. Suddenly, a fleet of Polymarasian warships enters the city and declares war on Maltis. Guy flies out the window and engages them, destroying several of their ships. The Polymarsians retreat from the battle. Elsewhere, speaking of stuff blowing up in Hal Jordan's face, Star Sapphire returns to the planet Zamaron. She is agitated that her fellow Zamarons have abandoned their world to be with the Guardians. And yes, to be with the Guardians. Despite her lack of companionship, she continues to scheme against her enemies, Hal, John, and Katma. Back on Earth, the Green Lanterns begin construction of the Green Lantern Citadel. With the power of 7 Green Lantern rings to assist in the labor, construction is completed within short order. Polaris, Sonar, and the other villains watch from a distance, biding their time until the most opportune moment to attack. They ambush the Green Lantern Corps, but even their varied powers are no match for the combined might of 7 Green Lanterns. After an exhaustive battle, the villains are forced to flee. Thoughts? So does that hold up? Does that hold up where Kilowog is a geneticist? Because does it, when he shows up in like the Justice League International books, it almost seems to me like he's working on like tech. I'm like,
yeah, I mean he's I guess they just say scientist because he seems more like an engineer than actually a bio engineer or anything like that. And I was trying to think. So he shows up, I believe, in Millennium, the big crossover with the Guardians leaving or whatever that's going on there. I think he shows up in New Guardians and he shows up in the Justice League book. And then not too long after that, Emerald Twilight happens, right?
I think so, yeah. And
he gets quote unquote killed. But I really think, and please correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but I think we really get Kilowog as the drill sergeant, as the trainer in the first part of, right after the Road Back in Volume 3.
Yeah, that's the first time I remember him being the drill instructor.
I think that's where he's going to be the one to train the new Corps. And, we have Salaak there with him, who's more who I've always liked as, kind of the administrator.
Yeah.
He's still a Green Lantern, but he's the administrator, It's funny because he doesn't look like the Kilowog we know and love in this first appearance, does he?
No.
I mean, and what I always think of is and again, I'm going to go back to Rebirth because it's something I love a lot. Is you can see the air being pushed out of his nostrils with his ring, and Hal saying, his ring is the only one that makes a sound. Okay, boom.
I know, it just seems so weird in this issue. He was like, they're like, oh, he apparently has to use his ring because he's just so physical,
big and strong. Yeah.
It's just like Poozer, you can do both.
Exactly.
Oh, and for those of you concerned with the timeline, according to dialogue between Appa Ali Apsa and Guy Gardner, it's been 5 years since the former Guardians established on Maltus to help the population in Green Lantern 81. So,
in 5 years since Green Lantern 81.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. And we know what happens to Appa Allah, old timer. We know what happens to old timer.
Yep. See episode 4, kids. Yes.
Yeah.
So issue 81 was like, it's probably like in 70. Well, because issue 87 cover was December of 71, so it was like 70, 71. So between 70 or 71 to 86, it was 5 years their time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Sliding time.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Kilowog's first appearance is probably better than Salaak.
Oh, definitely, because they actually gave him stuff to do. They kind of give you an introduction. It's like, hey, my whole sector's been blown up.
Wait, first off, a sector is infinite because of it's an angle of a whatever.
I think they kind of retconned that later, where it's just like his planet blew up.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, and I thought it was kind of weird. Chip's like, oh, apparently I don't exist in this timeline anymore. I'm like, okay, that's weird to just bring up. It's
Well, he does exist, but yeah, guess the time. Although, that stuff like that happened after Crisis, because they got killed at the end of Crisis, but it's like Earth 2, Dick Grayson and Huntress were around, and they're like, there's another Dick Grayson and Helen. They were like, she was like, no one's ever heard of Helena Wayne.
Yeah. The Golden Age Superman.
Oh yeah.
The
Superman and Lois, Golden Age Superman and Lois.
From Legion, what was her name? Lady Quark.
Oh, Quark, yeah, because she was from another universe, yeah.
She was from a whole other universe.
Yeah.
She's here. It's weird because...
Oh, the whole Crisis thing was so weird because everyone remembered Barry Allen dying, but they wanted to get rid of Supergirl, so no one remembered Supergirl, but they remembered Barry Allen dying.
Exactly. Because they rebooted Superman, but they didn't reboot the Flash. They just started with the new Flash.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted Superman to be the only Kryptonian, so it was like he mourned her, then forgot her.
It was what was it like? Maybe Mark Waid may have said this. Yeah, there for a while it was like the only people that died on Krypton were Jor-El, Laura, and all the scientists who called him a poopy head. I don't know if that may have been Mark Waid, that may have been John Byrne. I don't remember who said that.
It was like Noah's Ark. It seemed like you got at least one of everybody. At least one man, one woman, one dog, one cat, one horse. Yeah.
Streaky, Beppo.
Oh, the monkey, yes.
Monkeys are cool.
And a couple Kryptonian supervillains in the Phantom Zone.
That's right. I don't know. It's I know you and I have talked about this. I still really am annoyed that Katma Tui is still dead, because Katma Tui was a great character before John Stewart, and then her arc became to be she basically got fridged before there was a fridge, and which is annoying.
Think how much has gone on since she's died. The core has risen and fallen. How many times has she been dead? Hal Jordan has died, gone evil, gone dead, and come back. Guy Gardner's gone Vuldarian, got that retconned, and
he got fixed. Yeah, and there's the. I think it would have been cool to have her part of the Lost Lanterns, because Jeff Johns brought a lot of those lanterns back, but he left her alone.
Or even before that, I was surprised they didn't retcon that during New 52.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's because the other characters, they're all still here. They're all still, part of the Green Lantern.
I mean, look at the end of Dark
so.
Crisis. I mean, half those lanterns were dead or missing, and everyone's there.
Now everyone's back. Poor Simon, he's not a Green Lantern, but a Green Lantern. I don't understand. So I'm really hoping we get some kind of epilogue to the Jeff Thorne run on Green Lantern, because there's a lot that's not explained, and
I'm wondering if that John Stewart issue is supposed to be that, because he's writing that, right? Jeffrey Thorne's writing so.
Yeah, and I think Marco Santucci's doing the art, and he was one of the artists during that run, he's an awesome artist. So I don't know, but there's only Katma's the only character that we've talked about that is dead at this point in continuity.
Yeah, I mean, again, Kilowog died and came back.
Yeah. And that was done before Rebirth, because we talked about it in The Last Will and Testament of Hal Jordan.
Oh, yes. And we're going to get into more of that in the coming weeks, yes.
Yes, I think Winnick finally brings him all the way back, right? Or
it might be Rob. I can't remember. Yeah, okay. But it might be. Can't remember. Sinestro's died and come back.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, that is... I think we chose pretty well. I think these 6 characters, right? Sinestro.
Yeah, 6.
Katma. Yeah, I think these 6 characters are pretty important to Green Lantern overall.
And it gave us a nice little span there from 1961 to 86. I mean, we got a span of 25 years, so it's a nice little sampling.
Exactly. Lots of different... Hi.
Hello, Turtle.
It's a pretty good I mean, we number 7, number 30, number 59, number 87, and then we jump up to 149, and then we jump to 205. 201, yeah. Yep. I think we did pretty well, sir.
Yes, I think this was a good 100th episode, sir. All right. Do you want to know what we're doing next week?
Tell me.
All right.
I think I have a clue.
We start the journey to the next 100 issues. All right. Yes, next week, we're back to the Judd Winnick run. So, yes, we're going to cover Green Lantern 143 through 145. And I believe 143 is that Joker's last laugh. So, I believe that's our Jokerized Graven.
Well, we've already had a Jokerized Spectre, so,
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much doing Judd Winnick run. Oh, yeah, there's Action Comics in there in 2 weeks. But, basically doing the Winnick run for the next 1, 2, 3 weeks. And then we'll be back to the Spectre in a month. So.
Finish that one off.
Not that. We got like 2 more. We're going to do smaller chunks. Yes. Yeah, because when we get next Spectre one, we'll do 18 through 23, and then we'll do 24 to 27. So a lot more smaller, digestible chunks.
Instead of 8 and 9 issues apiece.
Exactly. So, yes, we're at episode 100 now. And always remember, kids, Rebirth is coming in 118. So Will's like, so close. Little about 4.5 months.
18 weeks. Hey, we'll get there.
Hey, this first 100 flew by, Will. Come on, what's 18 episodes?
I know. We're gonna get there, and and I am still very interested to see the rest of Winnick's run, and then the final issues of this series, because I've not read them. And there's so many of. I don't know that I've read any of Winnick's run except what we've read here on the show. So I'm, it's going to be cool for me to, finally catch up, and read those.
Yeah, I can't wait till if not before, it might be the one like New 52. I haven't read like all the Lantern series from New 52. So yeah, that's gonna.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, because Red Lanterns, you have the Sinestro series, you have Larfleet series, you have New Guardians, the Corps, and then of course, there's lots of series there. We're not going to move as fast through that. No.
Hell,
because we moved pretty quickly through Mosaic and Guy Gardner and the Green Lantern title, plus Dark Stars, but there's so many more series, post New 52.
Oh hell, before even there, once we get the Blackest Night and stuff.
God, are we going to do all of the limited series for Blackest Night? Because there's like.
I know what you're getting at. You want to do that the Batman series?
Batman, my favorite character.
It's not even Bruce Wayne. That's when Dick Grayson was Batman. So
then of course we're going to do that then, right?
I didn't have on the schedule, but I don't care. We can do them all. Superman, Batman. I don't care. We do them all.
Yeah, there was 8 3-issue limited series around Blackest Night for like Wonder Woman and
Batman, Superman.
And then I loved, this is freaking genius. Basically Blackest Night's about zombies, right? I mean, when you get right down to it.
Basically,
so what they do is
it is.
I mean, there's more to it than that, but bringing back series and giving them a zombie issue, bring a zombie series like Catwoman got an extra issue, that was a Blackest Night crossover, even though she had been canceled. There was a Hawkman and Adam, I think, maybe issue. I can't remember all of them, but there was like 5, 6, something like that issues where, they brought back a series, but it was kind of a zombie series, which I thought was clever as all get out.
All right, William, I'll tell you what. Episode 150 is going to be at the end of 2023. It's like the penultimate episode of 2023. Take a drink, future Lil. I was going to say, for 150, do you want to do all those series, like, those those Blackest Night minis? Because we're going to be in the middle of Blackest Night or at 150, so should we do?
Sure, why not?
So for 150, do all the miniseries, the Supermans, the Batmans, the Wonder Womans, whatever.
You bet. Let's do it.
All right, and it'll fit in, and we'll be in Blackest Night.
That's right.
All right. I will make that change. All right. Cool.
Very cool.
See, kids, see us playing on the fly.
That's right. We adapt.
All right, William. Anything else for our big 100th episode?
I can't believe it's been 100 episodes.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun.
That's right. Lots of fun talking about Green Lantern.
That's right, yes. And once again, kids, next week we'll be back to the winning run, 143 through 145. So strap in, kids. All right. I can't. Oh man, I don't have to wait like almost a year to say, "Hey, Ray, you want to send in some feedback?" I don't know. Maybe,
I'm back.
I'll have to see. Maybe Dick Grayson Batman doesn't rub him the wrong way as much as Bruce Wayne.
Batman, my favorite character.
Hey, Will.
Batman.
His favorite.
Hey, wait.
character.
I need to see some mullet Superman, man.
Oh, you need more mullet. All right.
I need more mullet.
Oh my God. Okay, here's a freebie for you, kids. Oh my God. If myself or anyone else ever does a 90s Superman podcast, oh my God, it has to be like mullet.
Superman's mullet
mania or something. Yeah, the Superman 90s podcast. Yes. No. You want to do Superman from just say you do a Superman podcast from 1990 to 1999. What do you call it? The Electric Mullet. Yes.
I think you've discovered something.
I can't believe I'm giving this gold away for free. It's gold, Jerry. All right. So yes. So send us your thought. I want that now. I want a 90s Superman podcast. I just hear Lilith now. No. All right.
No.
All right, kids. So yeah, send us your thoughts. Who would be brave or stupid enough to do that with me? All of a sudden, you see Matt Kona riding back over the horizon. All right, kids. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And again, it's on upcoming stuff. If you have thoughts on these first appearances, I mean, we'll read it in future episodes. I don't care. But yes, and remember, follow Sector 2814 on Facebook, on Twitter. Join the Green Lantern Facebook fan group. Find links to all the various social medias for all the DC and Marvel shows we do, including Justin and I are doing the new show, Marvel Tales, where we just discuss something different every time. We already have the first 3 episodes recorded. Episode 3, we just did the first 4 issues of John Byrne's Alpha Flight.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. You guys want a sneak peek? It's on YouTube right now. Oh, we're all over the place. I mean, we did Genus Fell's 1995 series for episode 1. What was episode 2? Oh, the first appearance of Deadpool and the first appearance of Cable. So yeah,
that's late
New Mutants issues. Yeah.
That's like early 90s.
Yes,
Mutants, right?
yeah. I think Deadpool was like 91 or something. Yeah, and Cable's like a year before him, but. So yeah, we're all over the place for Marvel. So you guys love Marvel, check us out there. And Salty and Petty is coming with me and Lilith, where we're going to be discussing all kinds of stuff, not just comics. So episode 1, because it's going to drop the same day it comes back, we're going to be talking we're going to compare, I think, the old and new Quantum Leap series. So
Yeah, when is it coming back?
January 2nd, I think. I think it's that first Monday in January it's back.
Awesome.
I believe so.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yes, and they renewed it for season 2.
I did see that too. Yep, I did.
Yay. Let's get Bakula in here then. Back the money truck up. All right, so enough of that. So yes, find links to all the social medias. Like I said, the YouTube channel, everything we do gets a video. So smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of thing we do, including all this new stuff.
Smash it!
And the the Patreon, because once again, we're paying for this out of our own pocket. Every little bit helps, but $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And superhero movie brackets are over, thank God. But you can, yes, survive. You can enjoy my pain and watch the whole series now on Patreon. And if you subscribe now, in 2023, the patrons get to suggest stuff for us to talk about. And we may have some returning favorites, maybe some one and dones of Wade's World, maybe a little show called The Quantum Zone. Yes.
Those guys are lame, man. I don't know.
No, those guys are awesome. No, I was going to say, maybe I could talk Lilith and you or whoever else is interested. Maybe we'll get a big round table. Maybe we'll do just a one and done electric mullet. Yes.
Electric mullet.
Yeah.
I can see a neon mullet that, kind of blinks in and out, and then, and then it goes like comes on, goes off, comes on, then stays on.
Yes.
The electric mullet. There's your logo right there.
Oh my God! I'll know when Lilith listens to this, because Lilith, I know you're going to message me and go, "You're insane," you know that. All right, so yeah. So subscribe to the Patreon and pick yourself up Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. Find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. All right. Master William, Master of the Core, Master of the Quantum Zone, Master of the Kickstarter, Master of Podcasting, Master of all. Where can people get a hold of you?
You can find me at Walred, that's at WALLRED, at Gmail, and still at Twitter, and Facebook, and probably on like Mastodon now, and Hive. I think I'm on Hive too.
Yeah, Capes on Hive.
I'm lots of places, but yeah, if you want to reach out, you can always find me. I'm typically WALLRED wherever you find your social media. If I've been there, so
wherever you roam on the
also, internet. Yeah, if you're interested in my comics work. I've self-published through Kickstarter, Crossover Division. Number 4 should be... They're beautiful, thank you. Crossover Division number 4 should be going to print real soon, and you can check that out at crossoverdivision.com. Or you can, if you go to crossoverdivision.com, you can actually go to the pre-order store and still get in if you want a copy of numbers 1 through 4 via the Backer Kit store. If you're interested, you can also find... issues of Diary of Night there, and you can check out Diary of Night at diaryofnight.com. And Phil is not the only podcaster that I annoy on a weekly basis. That would be Kevin Joseph, the writer of Tart, and I usually hang out on Friday nights and speak to comic book creators who have live Kickstarter projects running. Talk about what the project is, and they have to explain themselves, because the name of the podcast is Explain Yourself. And obviously you have great taste because you're here, so if you would like to find out more about Quasar, and who doesn't, then you can always check out the Quantum Zone at quantumzone.org. I'll put it in my navel.
Hey, boys, you look at the party? I love the party. I hope it's going somewhere nice. Seems like I'm getting a package every other day.
And of course.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
Lots of other people got attention this week, so of course.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
I, of course, love Kal Rayner and Mullet Superman. All right. Thank you for joining us again in 1 week. Green Lantern 143 through 145.
I was going to say, that's great that you love Kyle. But the second one, man.
I don't know. I love the era. I don't know.
I can still see that logo of the show for Electric Mullet. It's got it blinks on and you hear it buzz, and it stops, and it blinks back on again, and then a neon mullet.
Telling you, I'm going to have a corner all devoted to the 90s. All right, kids, come back next time, and remember, nothing more dangerous than an amoeba. Good night.